All right. Welcome and happy Thursday. Before we go into the topic of Linux and the state of Linux, if we have any Yankee fans out there and want to say hello, I was born in New York. The Yankees played the Pirates last night in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, not too far from here. The Yankees hit 6 home runs, 2 grand slams. The final score was 16-0. Let's just say that the Yankees performed a very Debian Stable-like performance last night in Pittsburgh. I should have went. I didn't go. Anyway, if we have any Yankees fans from New York, say hello. I'm just having some orange juice this morning, listening to my dad's tunes and his song Symphony of Love. The world could use more love. Amen to that, right? So this is a Linux State of the Union. A little play on words. I was hoping to have the secretaries of Snap Packages and Flatpaks joining me. They're not here because they're running a little slow. It's just an inside joke. Those of you who use Linux, you'll know what I mean. Yesterday, I was in Walmart waiting for an oil change. So I walked in the back by the TV section. They had a 65-inch 4K smart TV, 65-inch, on sale for $399.99. A 65-inch smart TV for $400. My first thought was, it's a good price. My second thought was, man, Linux has come a long way. And I was thinking, 65-inch, maybe I could squeeze it here, and nah, it's going to be too big. I have a 39-inch monitor now that I use. Anyway, but just to say how far Linux has come. Of course, smart TVs, they use a form of Linux. Some years ago, one of my friend's laptops had it crashed. It wouldn't boot. I think he had a Windows 7, right? And he had to retrieve some important documents, files, folders. He's a retired attorney. He could not log into his Windows 7. I thought, no fear. I created a bootable Ubuntu USB stick. So because the laptop wasn't physically broken, okay, I could turn it on, the screen wasn't cracked. I said to retrieve those files and folders. I created a USB stick. I booted from the USB stick into Ubuntu, and I was able to access his Windows partition. And I was able to copy and paste what he wanted to save. Whatever photos, files, folders, I was able to copy and paste what he wanted to save from those specific folders to a different USB stick on his laptop by booting from the original Ubuntu USB stick. Okay? If you are new to all this, I didn't install anything. I used 2 USB sticks, one to boot from Ubuntu Linux. The second stick was to copy and paste the files that he wanted from his Windows side to the other USB stick, and I was able to salvage whatever files and folders that he wanted. Again, another example of Linux saving the day. If you have an Android phone, I think this is Android is the top selling phone in the world. Android base, a form of Linux. Another Linux State of the Union there. Chromebook sales exploded during the last couple years. I have one. I like it very much. Smart cars. You have what's it called? Android Play, Android Auto, that's a form of Linux. A smart house, a smart home. Anything that's labeled smart is probably powered, is probably assimilated by a form of Linux. So as far as the State of the Union for Linux, not just in the US of A, but the world, I think it's pretty good. Linux has assimilated the world. It hasn't quite assimilated the desktop for the masses, at least not yet. Chromebooks have come close, and they're fine, but for me it's not enough. There's not enough specific software for a Chromebook for me to do what I like to do here. Now, a Chromebook may be perfect for some people. If all they do is consume content and not create content, that's perfectly fine. But, if you own a smart car, a Chromebook, an Android phone, whatever, the Alexa thing, if you own a supercomputer, supercomputers are powered by a form of Linux. I'm not sure why you would need. I think I know why you would want a supercomputer. That wouldn't be bad. I'm not sure why you would need a supercomputer. It would be fun to have, but I believe all of the top, 500 supercomputers of the world are powered by Linux. And who knows, maybe Linux is used in the White House too. I don't know. So I wish I was streaming this live from the White House. It would have been cool to have President Joe Linux joining me. That has a nice ring to it. Hey, it's Joe Linux joining me. It would be cool if Arnold Schwarzenegger could run for president and win. It's good to be here with Ubuntu. Anyway, so the state of Linux in general, as a Windows user, I think, not just in the USA but in the world, I think is just fine. This morning, I'm actually doing this with Windows 10. I don't use Windows that much, but I still need to update the system, run the security patches and stuff like that. I normally use either Ubuntu Mate, Linux Mint, or Zorn for myself. So what I have here is a setup here, and on my TV here to the left is mainly Linux powered. So if you've thought about trying a form of Linux or a desktop, Linux has come a long way since 2006 when I first tried it with Ubuntu. Ubuntu Linux was my first date with Linux, and I haven't stopped since. I wish I could walk into a Walmart and see something besides a Chromebook that's Linux powered, and it would be nice to see an Ubuntu computer next to a Chromebook or a Linux Mint or anything else that it's not just a Chromebook. So the state of Linux, the State of the Union for Linux, if you are a Windows user watching this, and if you don't know, chances are you have been assimilated by Linux in some form or fashion. I just realized today is the season ending for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, speaking of assimilated, on Paramount Plus. I'm going to have to watch it when I'm done with this. 2 nights ago on my other Linux powered phone, I was watching Star Trek on the app, Paramount Plus app. I was watching Star Trek in Italian. It was weird, even though I understand it. Watch Star Trek in Italian if you can. It's different. I remember one time watching the A-Team with Mr. T speaking Italian back in Italy. It was a shock to say the least, but that's a different story altogether. All right, so I'll stick around a little bit longer here. If there is anybody in the chat who wants to say hello, I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I will soon. I have my orange juice here. It looks like the stream is good, so if you are in the chat, say hello. If there is anybody new watching and wants to say hello about all this, have a question, please do. I do these shows at random times to try and get people in from the UK or people overseas who want to join in and say hello, who don't normally have a chance to say hello. Normally I do the shows at night. I know that eliminates a lot of people overseas who are sleeping, so I totally get it. I also want to thank all of the contributors, supporters of the channel. Somebody just donated this morning. I got a notification off my PayPal app. Thank you so kindly. Whoever that was, I'll check it later. So if you want to say hello and are watching, now's your time before I wrap this up and have me some breakfast. I love me some orange juice in the morning. It's too early for red wine. The red wine is sitting right here to the right on the carpet, but not this morning. All right, let me see here. All right, the stream looks good. Does anybody want to say hello? I have a question. If not, we'll wrap this up here in a minute. Hope it doesn't rain today. Somebody had asked about this waveform here that you're seeing on the screen. This is an OBS Studio plugin. I believe it's just called a waveform plugin. It's a little bit easier to install in Windows than it is in Linux. In Linux, I had to use the Flatpak version of OBS Studio and the plugin to make this work. And it works pretty good. So it's just a plugin for OBS Studio, those of you who are watching this later. I think it looks pretty slick. I thought I saw some news that some Chromebooks coming out by HP, I think, are going to be NVIDIA GPU graphics powered. Interesting. I don't think that's ever happened before. You know, some of the higher end Chromebooks. You know, the Chromebooks are certainly capable of gaming, but to have something powered by NVIDIA, I think would be even better. If you get one of those, let me know. I'm kind of curious. I know the latest talk, or the last big Linux news had to be the Steam Deck handheld gaming device, and I haven't heard much since it was released, since it was announced. If you have one, let me know, but I don't have anything like that. I stick to my Xbox as far as gaming goes. Some gaming in Windows, some in Linux, but the other day I was playing Halo 3 and still enjoying Halo in stereo sound. All those years I played Halo with my son on a teeny weeny TV speaker or speakers did not do the game justice, but with a 3-speaker system subwoofer, it's a much more enjoyable experience, not just gaming but anything else. So all right, it is almost 10 o'clock here. So I'm going to have me some breakfast. I'm not seeing here anybody yet in the chat. This was not scheduled, so that's not surprising. So most of you will probably catch this later. Sorry that I missed you. But of course you can replay this in its entirety. These are my thoughts on the Linux State of the Union so far. It's pretty good. Linux has assimilated you, whether you like it or not. So enjoy whatever you use. Be safe out there. And I will catch you on the next one. Arrivederci.